Hey guys, well, welcome to our team call. It's November 12th, and we are just in full swing with a really powerful month. This is the month of miracles, and I'm so excited that we have an incredible guest sharing her story with us tonight. This is a friend that I met, gosh, what was it, 3 years ago? Something like that. Yeah, because Joe was a baby at Q school. And what that is every year the company has a little weekend retreat for new QNMDs that have reached that accomplishment within the year before. And I had this incredible, beautiful woman in my group. She and I were sitting at the dinner table together, and I immediately, just within minutes of talking with her, knew that we had a special connection and just felt a kindred spirit amongst me. And Julie lives in New Jersey. She's going to be our speaker tonight. She's a new national marketing director as of this year. And so she is just moving forward with full throttle momentum in her team right now. And she has been for a really long time, and it's been so awesome to watch because she'll tell you a little bit more about her story, but she hit NMD in less than 5 years, right? It was 3 years, 3.5. And that's a huge accomplishment, you guys. And she's in New Jersey. She's a former research nurse at Rutgers University, and her husband is a doctor of physical therapy. His name's Rocco. He's amazing, and they have a 4-year-old daughter named Lena. And the cool thing about all of this is that it's coming straight from my head because I know her. She's a friend of mine. I get to be a part of her life, and she's a prayer warrior. She's an incredible woman, and I'm so excited for her to share her heart with you guys tonight. She's gonna let us take a peek into her story and just some of the things that have helped her to move forward. And so I'm going to be taking notes. I hope you guys will be too. And maybe, just maybe, if we have time, Julie will answer some questions at the end. So I'm going to turn it over to you, my dear friend. So
awesome. Thank you so much. I like to call this one Julie G Unplugged because we're all friends here, right? So I'm super excited to be on this call, and thank you, Alice, for inviting me. Yes, we did meet at Q School, and we sat on a bus together, and Alice interviewed me because that's what she's so good at doing. And I fell in love with her. I just was like, this girl asks some seriously amazing questions. I think that she's a true shining example of what this mission is about. We're meeting people where they are with love and asking great questions and just shining on them. Yeah, Christine saw that interview. That was awesome. So being around you, Alice, is contagious. And so I am here tonight to encourage and affirm you. So whether you're a brand new rep or you're a seasoned rep, you're in the right place at the right time. And I hope you hear something that will resonate with you. So take what you can and leave the rest. My husband and I did just celebrate 4 years with the Juice Plus company, and I almost can't remember a time before Juice Plus, but let me try to remember. My story started when we moved into a brand new house. We moved in next to a family physician who shared Juice Plus with us. I was 6 months pregnant with our daughter Lena, and I was working 2 jobs, full-time jobs. A full-time job as a hospital-based nurse in a busy post-operative floor. I worked orthopedic trauma. And my second job, I gathered clinical data on nutritional supplements. So I think God was setting me up for a bigger job, and ergogenic aids in the Rutgers Human Performance Lab. So Rocco had just finished his doctorate in physical therapy. It was an incredible time in our life. So moving and fixing this house and preparing it, it just wasn't our season. You know, his message kind of fell on deaf ears. And I desperately wanted to take time off to be Lena's mom. But we had a lot of student loans, like over $100,000 in student loans. We had a brand new home, we had credit card debt, and that did not allow us to live on one income. And I knew that if I was continuing to work 60 to 70 hours a week, I would be able to give my daughter everything that she wanted, but nothing that she truly needed, which is my time and my nurturing. I wanted to nurse my baby. And I was getting up at 4:50 in the morning and getting home at 9:30 at night. My mom lived across the country, and I was just racking my brain about how I was going to try to make this all work. And so before I'd go to the hospital, I would have a prayer, and I would say, you know, Lord, connect me with my highest purpose. Connect me with my highest purpose. Like, I would say this all the time, not knowing that he was putting things together and it was going to look totally different than I thought it would look. I also have an autoimmune disease. I'm a celiac. And so at the beginning of my pregnancy, I was extremely sick. I had to take 8 weeks off of work. I was sleeping 14 hours a day. I could barely keep food down. The hormone shift had truly exacerbated my disease process, and I was a hot mess. I look at myself in pictures, and I looked emaciated. My face was gone. I was so thin that I could barely recognize myself, and this time cut into my maternity leave. So I was only afforded 8 weeks of postpartum time. And I'll never forget that day I received a call from a job that I'd worked at for over a decade. I'd been an exemplary employee, and they told me that I had 2 days to come back to work or I would lose my job. And I sat there holding my baby, still healing from a C-section, and I cried. Behind closed doors, there were so many changes that were happening. This was supposed to be one of the most beautiful times of my life, and I found myself without an identity. Who would I be if I wasn't a nurse? And in the same month, my parents decided to divorce after 35 years. And my father announced that he was getting married in the next 10 months. So I was shook. I was angry. I felt betrayed. I was lost. And I didn't connect all of this transition to God's plan for me. He heard the callings of my heart to be connected with a higher purpose and was turning this fork in the road into a path for my dreams. So Dr. Winston, he knew that calling of my heart and that desire, and he capitalized on it by giving me major FOMO. I'll never forget, I was putting Lena in the car to take her to a doctor, and he yelled out the door, "Julie, I think I know a way that you can stay home with your daughter." And then he went inside. So I sat there all day thinking, what is he going to connect me with? Maybe it's a doctor. Maybe I can work in the office and I would pump and this would be the schedule. I was trying to think how I could make it all work. My imagination was truly going wild. So that night, Rocco and I went over to his house, and along with his wife, Arlita, they were national marketing directors who made it there in their 70s, people, in their 70s. I sat there and I listened to them, and I listened to their story and the types of people that they were. We bought into Juice Plus because of them. Not because of what they said, but who they were as people. And I figure if they could make it to their top level in retirement, that I could certainly do this in my prime. So I saw Juice Plus as a vehicle for my dreams, but I had no idea how. I had no idea what I was going to do. I'd never shared anything before, but I knew my why. And they were the faces that I saw every single morning, and the last faces I saw at night. My family was everything to me, and I knew that I was made for more. So I took all of that passion and that angst, and I put it into a focus into making a difference in people's lives. And I had aversion to social media. Like, I'd never done a spreadsheet before, nothing, but I made a way. And so I was having a very positive experience on the Juice Plus product. My energy was returning. My digestion was improving so much. My elimination was improving. My skin cleared. I used to be on Accutane. I also used to be on a lot of anxiety medications and depression medications. And what I really truly realized is that I was malnourished, and that was affecting my brain health. You would look at me and think that I was the picture of health, but I was really suffering behind closed doors. My chronic eczema that my Duke trained dermatologist told me would never go away, I got to tell her that it was not chronic after all, and it completely disappeared after 2 years. My husband's seasonal allergies went away. He actually has an autoimmune disease also where he lost patches of his hair. It's called alopecia areata, and they started to grow back after 2 years. I have a 4.5-year-old that has never had prescription medication. Like, that still blows my mind. She goes to school 5 days a week. But all of that, I think, is fantastic. But what I would love to share with you tonight is, if I had just signed my distributorship, this is what I would tell myself. The first thing that I would tell myself is to decide, and this is what I did. Right away, I made a decision. I had no idea about the marketing plan, but I did know that I needed to make $2,000 a month as quickly as possible. That's what would have afforded me the opportunity to stay home with Lena. So I decided right there at that first meeting, that's what I wanted. And so whether your goal is a position or a dollar amount or a club level, make the decision and stick with it. I wanted to be able to look in the mirror and love the person that I saw. I wanted to be the primary caregiver for my child, and I wanted to make a huge impact on my community. And I wanted to be independent. I have always wanted to make my own money. I never wanted to be, can I have $10 for a haircut? Like, that was not me. I needed to have independence. So if you haven't heard this already, mindset is everything. Do you know that 80 to 90% of this business is psychological? You get to choose what you believe. So give yourself permission to be great and give yourself grace when you fail. If I could do it all over again, I would have started personal growth immediately. Our thoughts truly become things, and I've experienced operating my business from a place of attachment and from a place of love and non-attachment, and the latter is so much more energizing and rewarding. The former feels horrible. It feels like you're spinning your wheels, you're trying to force things, you're being frustrated when things don't go your way, and the joy is lost. So decide where you will give your energy to the love of yourself and others, or your fears. And fear hates action. So let's F fear and get into action. So you paid $50 for this business like everyone else, but treat it like you paid $50,000 because it truly can pay you that amount. The second thing that I would do is, and that I did, is declare. I shared this goal with the right people, and many who are on this call tonight. There will be people who do not get it, what you are doing, and those people do not matter. Some will, some won't. So what? Somebody is waiting. Declare your goals to 3 people who you know will hold you accountable, people who will make you better and bring you back to the reason that you said yes. We will always hear, have a why that makes you cry. But for me, it was a why that made me angry in the beginning. And anger was a great motivator to get me into action, but anger got me stuck. So you truly have to get into your heart to succeed in this business. You cannot be an NMD and not be a good person. So my declaration was 3 to 5 years, whatever it takes. And every time that I wanted to quit or things got hard, my husband would look at me and say, 3 to 5 years. We're not quite there yet, so get back to work. So every conference, every regional, calls when my daughter was in the bathtub, doing Freedom Revolution calls when, if from our hotel, if we were on vacation, while Lena was sleeping in the bed next to me, I invested in personal change and energy work, and I earned an MD. So there were moments when I hit my limit where I felt like I was going to quit or change the goal to make things easier. I've had moments of utter disappointment that were always followed by a triumph if I didn't get out of line. That's one thing that my sponsor said in the very beginning. She said, just don't get out of line, Julie. So I declared that I would make NMD in Phoenix, and clearly that did not happen, but I learned a very valuable lesson. If I was the person that I needed to be an NMD in Phoenix, I would have been an NMD. So trust the process. Trust that the process is making you even stronger, more loving, and more effective. But several times on my journey, these limiting beliefs came up. I'm not organized enough. I don't have enough time. Everyone has a better upline, a better sideline, a better whatever that is. And I would often ask myself, what is going on internally? What are the commitments that I have that is greater to me than following through on what I said I wanted? So what I would ask myself, what am I committed to in this moment? Is it the laundry that I'm committed to? Or is it being able to stay home with my daughter? And those were those small choices that made a big difference in my journey. The third thing is I dedicated myself. And so I'll ask you right now, are you teachable? How dedicated are you to reaching your goal? Will you quit when times get tough? Will you choose productive over busy? Are you willing to invest and grow yourself? Have you committed to conference and local events? There were probably only a handful of days in the past 4 years that I didn't touch my business. I wake up every morning thinking about my business. Sometimes when I didn't even want to think about my business, I was thinking about my business. But sometimes it was a little, sometimes a lot, but every day I was reaching out, following up, building new relationships with team or prospects. And this business really is like being a farmer. Sometimes you're sowing the seeds, sometimes you're reaping. That's how it is. So just accept the seasons, accept that the seasons are teaching you different things. There is a lesson in every season. So when my sponsor asked me to read something, I read it. If she told me to go to something, I went. My first event, I drove 3 hours with a 3-month-old to go see Catherine Lee speak for 1 hour. Okay. I wanted this. I was hungry and dedicated. But if it was going to be, it was going to be me. And there were limiting beliefs and triggers from my past that kept me from becoming the person and the leader that I wanted to be. And we've all heard that this is a personal development course cleverly disguised in a business, but I am here to affirm that the investments that I made in coaching and changing have dramatically impacted all the relationships that were important to me. And these changes were not comfortable, and they certainly weren't linear, but they were necessary. They were absolutely necessary. Today, I'm a better friend, a better wife, a better sister, a better leader, because I have failed and gotten back up over and over and over again. The fourth thing that I would share with you is design it. You know, you can get lost in a sea of systems. Our company is amazing. They have so many systems and tools that I'm incredibly grateful for. But there's the Shred 10, the T120, the Freedom Revolution, the 90-day game plan, you know, the mission-driven model, the 5-in-1, the 10-in-1, the Royal Crown, the HLP, the Tower Guard. I mean, whatever it is, there's so many different things. Systems do create sustainability, and I love that. And they create a duplication and a snowball process. But you've got to sit down and go, what is authentic to me? What do I resonate with? And stick with it, right? So while our team has changed directions a few times, we've chosen a few of these systems and really utilized them. So, you know, I have several people in my organization that love Tower Garden. I grow one, I love them, but I quickly knew that Tower Garden was not going to be the system for me. I was going to have to build my business on something else that I was passionate about. So decide what system speaks to you and like make that your thing. And then I designed this with other sidelines, and I reached out to different people. You know, if I wasn't getting what I needed, I asked for it. So do what it takes to get there. Ask for what you need. My mom always said the squeaky wheel gets the grease. So, you know, reach out to people, ask for the things that are that you're needing. I mean, Alice or Jade or, you know, other NMDs, they're never going to be everything for you. So reach out, you know, learn from different people who have different talents and treasures. That's the most amazing thing about the people that are in this business, is that we're generous. You know, we share. You know, don't wait for your sponsor to wrap it up in a tight little package before you get started. The strength comes from the struggle. The strength comes from the repetition. I mean, remember the very first time that you shared your story in front of people, your heart was probably beating so fast that you couldn't put, you know, two thoughts together. And then, you know, after you shared your story 20 times, you almost can't remember, you know, how you felt back there. When I start a new rep, I'll say, you remember when you first started driving a car? Yeah, that's kind of what it's going to feel like. And I bet you now, sometimes you're like, how did I get home? It's just, it happens. It's the repetition, you know, over and over. The more you tell it, the better that you're going to get. So be your own hero. And, you know, I know that I want to leave time for questions. But the last thing is dance. And I thought to dance was the perfect analogy to close out this list. You know, some of us are natural dancers. Some of us have little rhythm. Some of us play it safe and we hug the wall in order for us not to, you know, make it to the dance floor. But at some point, you just got to get out there, you know, one foot in front of the other until you find that rhythm. There will be times when you are in the zone, and there will be times where you step on toes or you lose your beat. Does that mean that you're not going to get out there and dance? You know, there are going to be times that you're tired from dancing, but how are you supposed to become a better dancer if you don't get out there and do it? So do it like no one is watching. The world truly loves an original. But I'm definitely here to tell you, there is no magic. There is no wizard. You are the magic. You are the ruby slippers. So dig deep down inside you and find that little girl that knows that she can, and remember her. Remind her that you're in there. So go out there and give someone else permission to be the most authentic version of themselves that they can be. That's the kind of person that I want on my team. You know, I've never been impressed by a white picket fence story. I love a story of an overcomer. And every person that I've met that has truly impacted my life has had that story. So don't get lost in yours. You have an opportunity to rewrite every part of yours. So repair it or repeat it. And that's what I love to share with my team. We win or we learn, and that is our model. Every single time, if we make a mistake, it's like, okay, what did we learn from this? And then we do better. So I would love to open this up. If anybody has any questions for me, I would love to answer them. So we have a little time.
Does anybody want to talk about being the ruby slippers? Because that's the coolest analogy I've ever heard. As a songwriter, that blows my mind. You are your own ruby slippers. Anybody have a question for Julie? It can be logistical, like what does daily activity look like?
Yep. I'll tell you what my DMO looks like.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay. First of all, I think DMO is incredibly important. My team, I have a little chat for everyone who wants to cross the stage or has big goals. And if you're not planning your work and working your plan, you're going out there and rogue blind. So I used to not make time for myself first, but now I do. So the first thing that I do in the morning is I do my devotion every single morning. I try to get into the word, and then it's affirmations. After that, I try to knock my stuff out. I turn Boxer notifications off. Turn them off. They're going to be a distraction for you. I tell my team I check Boxer at 9 and at 3. I get to work on my activities first, because if you're not building your front line and doing the do, your team will not do the do. So, for example, I've added 8 new frontline reps since September 1st, and that was my goal. I wanted 6 new frontline reps by November 1st. I'm always setting little goals for myself like that, because I don't want my team to think that I'm just sitting back, kicking up my legs, like I'm out there in the fields doing the thing. And so I have different days for different things. Monday is usually meetings, calls, meetings, filling my brain with positive activities. Thursday, I have team trainings as far as training people who are going for specific goals. Tuesday is normally my customer day. Wednesday, I do mentorship. So I think that's the next thing that I'm working on is, being better attraction marketer. I work with a different type of a coach, not a mindset coach, but someone who's helping me to build my business, because I don't know everything about building a giant business. So I'm going to go and talk to people who are experts in this. And, I've invested in myself to do that, but I know that I've got to pave the way. That is incredibly important to me to, if I'm scared to do something, that usually means I got to do it. So, and then Fridays is kind of where I wrap it up. All the new people that I've talked to during the week, I make sure to put them on my list, and I'm always inviting. I have a Freedom Rev call every Wednesday night, team call every Tuesday. And so just plugging my team into systems so that they know what to expect.
Awesome. Did that open up any questions for anyone else? Someone unmute themselves. I have a question, if anybody doesn't want to jump in. I have one more question for you. No.
Nobody wants to ask me any questions.
No, I'm like, come on, guys, jump in here.
They're in stunned silence. You've stunned them. Okay, so would you show, obviously not everyone here needs to hire a business coach. That's what you do when your goals have exceeded an MD. But what would you say is like a good first activity for anyone? And you were sharing this with me on Boxer. I think this would be really good for everyone to hear kind of what you
okay.
Too.
So it dawned on me when I was onboarding a new rep and I was going over like all the Freedom Revolution stuff, which I think is amazing, but I just saw her eyes just like cross and glaze. And I was like, okay, I got to streamline this a little bit. So right now, my onboarding process is I show them either the first 6 months in Juice Plus, because remember, the first goal you show someone is what's going to stick in their head. So if you show them HLP first, I want to show them the bigger picture and then ask them where they see themselves. So right now, I'm showing them Julie Herbst's compensation plan, and then I ask them where do they see themselves. And then the next thing I show them is that sticky note sheet that's on Getting Started under Mission Driven Model. And I say to them, together, we're going to fill out this entire sheet. What is that? That's a self-qualified business. And then along the way, as we do that, you're going to pick up some bonuses, $100 here, $300 here, and as we teach 2 to 3 other people to do this, we're going to build you a nice, stable business. So isn't that much easier than watching all the how to invite, how to whatever? And then what happens is, as we are talking about how we're going to do that, then that's a perfect opportunity for me to say, great, let's plan an event. Within, the first week, we like to plan an event. And then I can send them one little video at a time. Here's effective inviting. Here's the events that we do, what stands out for you. But I have a standing event that they can always invite people to on Wednesday nights. And I don't do this with my upline national marketing director. She's 80 years old. That's not an option for me anymore. So I have to reach out to other people. And that's why I'm so grateful that people will share their story and collaborate with me. So, giving your time is a commodity. So have something valuable within yourself that, get your story down so that you can share that with someone else and kind of trade. So that's what I've been doing, and it's been really working. I have a brand new leg that started in January. That's 6 Club. So, we are duplicating. We're now 4 SCs deep, and that, it's when you know more, you do better. That wasn't what happened with me the very first person that happened. Like I said, I've made a ton of mistakes, but I just kept going. It doesn't matter. I think that's really the grit and the determination and the mindset are more important than being perfect. This is the perfect business for imperfect people. My house is messy most of the time. I'm wearing a hat. It's just my dreams are more important than what other people think about me.
That's so awesome. When you said grit and determination, and one of the things that I took note of, and you said, I wish I would have started my personal growth journey immediately. And I know for me, I ended up within the first couple months starting my personal development journey. And I just did what everyone else was doing on my team. So I just jumped into it, and I know that it made getting to NMD a lot faster. And if I looked at my report blindly, I could go through and I could circle who's doing personal development. And a lot of times, y'all, it's not based on maybe who might be working hardest or been in it longer. I could just go through and I could say this person's most likely doing personal development. And so, like, to echo that, and I would love for you to speak to this, Julie, like, to say, like, get yourself to a personal development seminar, like, if I could just, I would never want to make you, but if I could encourage you to, like, the nth degree, like, if you want to build this business, like, it's just, if it's Tony Robbins, if it's, we use a coach, if it's using, a different coach, if it's going to seminars, if it's landmark, like, I just did what everyone else on my team did. So I haven't used a ton of others, but I know that it is for sure what catapulted my business. So Julie, I would love.
Amen to that. I actually made it to Q in under 2 years, and I got stuck, and I couldn't get past that stuck point. And so I too saw other people doing certain things, and we used the same coach. And I was curious, would this really work? But what was happening is there were stuck places, not just in my business, but in every area of my life. And what I think personal growth and development did for me is it held a mirror up to my behavior and what things were helping me and what behaviors were not helping me. And I was negative and I was tough. I remember sitting in my first seminar, clenching my jaw and crossing my arms, just like, break me. I was asking for it, but deep down inside, I wanted to change. I didn't want to have to wear this false armor. I wanted people to see who I truly was. And so I 100% agree with you, Jade. I would get to some type of personal development course. There's another woman that I work with. Her name is Diane Altamir. And I did a book series that she does. It's called Clarity. And it helped me to kind of get into, if you're somebody who just wants to read a book and that's the first place that you want to start, her book was awesome because we're all fighting to clarity as well. And so, for me, I love affirmations because it was the unconscious mind. I rationally knew, but I couldn't get in there. And so I needed something to kind of help me with that. And so it was a layered effect. It was prayer. It was energy work. It was, what I did for my personal development, which was image. I worked with Diane Altamir. So I was fighting for the girl inside. I was fighting for this girl. And, just like with our health, with Juice Plus, you see your health heal in layers. That's what I was seeing with myself. And like every little stuck point, I was like, okay, I need to grow. I need to grow. It's time for me to grow again. It's like, gosh darn it, it's time for me to grow again. But now I can look at the person in the mirror, hi, Julie, and know that I love her. And that was important for me to show my little girl that my mom is not perfect. She radical acceptance of every part of her journey, because my past actually was a big catalyst in helping me to get to NMD, because I overcame. And once I changed the perception of like the hardships to seeing that as like, no, I'm a warrior. Like I fell down and I got back up and look what I've survived. I was like, dang it. I thought all those things were negative things, but they were actually preparing me for this journey. And so I remember when I felt that way, and I have these like cry moments. I was sitting in my car and I was just like, oh I get it. Like, I get it. I get why all that stuff happened. And I'm thankful and I'm grateful. That's the other thing. Gratitude. If you're going to start with one thing, gratitude. 5 things you're grateful for every morning. My first thought when I open my eyes is thank you. Thank you for everything. The good, the bad, the ugly. Thank you. So if there's maybe something your team can start, like a little gratitude boxer of like 5 things, you got 30 seconds. Tell me what you're grateful for today. We are
awesome
women in the United States of America. Like, I'm grateful for that.
That's awesome, girl. Well, I remember hearing more of your story, and the first time that I got to really connect with you, and I was like, this girl is such a warrior. Like, I just loved getting to connect with you, and thank you for sharing your story. And we just had a question in the chat, but I really think you answered it. Someone asked, or Elizabeth asked, what types of things fall under personal development? And Julie kind of mentioned, for her, it's growing in her faith. It was books, it's seminars, things like that. And so I would just add to that I think books are awesome. I think what I do in my spiritual life totally impacts every other area. But I would encourage you, when you're looking for personal development, you need something that gets you out of the house and gets you around other people. So if it's just a book, that's great part, but it needs to be some kind of seminar, something where you have other people involved, and then where you're most likely going to feel uncomfortable. So there you go.
Personal growth should take you to the edge of your comfort zone and then push you a little more.
Yeah.
That's what it should feel like. It should not feel good. It should feel like you're growing. And sometimes there are growing pains. So I completely agree with that. And looking back, that's what I asked my new rep right away. Mind, body, spirit. What are you doing? What are you doing in those areas? And so many times people just, especially moms, especially women, we're like, well, okay, kids are okay, husband's okay, house is okay, I'm done. We forget about us. But we are the neck, ladies. We turn the head. So, we have to be the person who is constantly working on yourself. And then what I would say to all men, I don't know if there are any men listening to this, but if your wife is growing and you're not, you can grow apart. So getting your husband involved in personal growth, I think, is absolutely something that can strengthen your relationship and your marriage as well. So it certainly strengthened, mine with my husband.
That's awesome. Okay, guys. Well, I would talk forever, but Julie, thank you so much. This is there's so many people that even aren't on that I'm like, I cannot wait to send this recording to them. So this has been powerful. Thank you for investing in our team. And yeah, we're just so grateful for you.
Absolutely. I know a lot of people on this are going to be walking that stage, and I can't wait to cheer you on. Can't wait to cheer you on. It's my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Sounds good. Love you guys.
All right. Good night.
All right, y'all. Peace out. Let's have a good night.